to see you both. Thank you so much for attending. This is the second live presentation that my business, New Life Coach, has aimed to do with the principles to merge your vision with rewriting your story. And then, being a small group today, I will going to make it fun, and I want you to think what is what you would like to get out of this hour that you are investing from all the noise in the world and all the things that you could be doing. What would you like to gain today? And if you wish to make a note, take a few seconds to write down. And then at the end, I can ask you, have you achieved that aim? Because in that way, we are able to calibrate not only our intentions, but also what is in your mind that you are wanting to achieve, that you are really investing in this hour with me. And that also will help me as well grow, and as I keep sharing this program. So in the meantime, I want to share with you a few more things. Let me move my camera here. So today, the reclaim a stronger sense of self-awareness. And this is what I am aiming to cover today, friends, because without our sense of self-awareness, we are really reduced to being push and pull by everything in this world. And also, I want you to know and understand that this is the one thing that you can do today, all of us can do today, to overcome limiting beliefs and double, triple, quadruple your chance to reduce and eliminate that negative self-talk, which can be a monster in your head that you believe, that it keeps telling you that you're not good enough, that you're not prepared, that you don't have what it takes. And this process, it takes around 10 to 15 minutes to complete. So it is quite important. I also want to add here that successful people, the first thing they do is to work on their inner world, on their limiting beliefs, before you want to or they want to conquer or achieve anything else. They need to work on those limiting beliefs. And some of us think like our business is not going as fast as we really would like it to be. Some of us feel that we don't have the confidence to take on a new project, or be a public speaker, a professional public speaker, or take the, yes, particularly those wanting to establish a new business. I always say that before you establish a business, overcome your limiting beliefs. And that's why this program is called Reclaim Your Vision, Rewrite Your Story, bring new aspirations to life while you're working full-time. And although some of you might not be working full-time, the thing is that your business might not be able to prosper the way you want it to be until you overcome those internal self-negative talk. So I also have a request, and I believe that all of you here are going to follow these. So your emails can wait, your replies can wait, if you can put your phone in silence. And the only time that we have is the present moment of the now. So I really thank you, and I believe that you will enjoy this. So I also want you to jot down, as I mentioned before, so what do you want to aim out of this hour with me? What are your intentions? Do you really know what are your intentions for your day even? My intentions, I will share that I want to share my journey with you. I want to share insights and share my passion, because really I believe that by showing you my journey, I'm also transpiring the passion that I feel, and I would like you to validate that in any shape and form, maybe in the comments. I want to be authentic so that you can also show that I have been vulnerable, that I haven't been this good at presenting, and I am getting better every time, more and more, as I keep practicing. And also I want to be of service. I want to be of service because what you have chosen, what I have chosen, is to be of service to a community, to the world, by what you are doing, and you're doing a great job. And I believe that when we are of service, we put our emphasis on that, on serving others, rather than, oh, I can't do this, I'm whatever else. You know what I mean? So I think that is my intentions that I wanted to share with you. And before continuing along, I want you to reflect on these 4 stages of consciousness, and take a minute to and I will read them all and see what it applies to you, what is true for you today. And this is from Michael Beckwith, and he's an American author, and I think also he's a pastor. I have followed him on a different program. But the 4 stages of consciousness, according to Michael Beckwith, is, to me, is a victim stage. You are at the mercy of the circumstances, reacting and resisting, and you're judging because you have been judged. So that comes both ways. You feel that you have no control of your life, your environment, and you live in fear. So we are all the time triggering a part of the brain that is continuously propelling us to act out of emergency. You're not really imagining a world that can be created by me. And I will be so thankful to know that none of you here are in this first stage of consciousness. By me, then you realize blame is you're giving your powers away. You take a little bit of responsibility. You feel that you are in control. You can do this, but you still think there is something more to it. The third stage, through me, is accepting grace and flow. And I believe that we all here in this present moment have experienced what flow means, right? Things go naturally, effortlessly. We wake up in the morning, and then by the end of the day, we feel that life, the universe, your actions had brought you what you needed to learn, to know, to act upon on that moment. Life is giving us humility. And what does this mean, friends? It actually means that when we don't act according to our values and a strong service to the world, what we are called to do, life will bring us experiences that will bring humility, right? Because you have to then go inwards and admit that you're not right, that we're not right, that I made a mistake. Perhaps we have to apologize. And that is an act of humbleness. So you feel that you want to be connected, and that is the through me. And as me is another stage that we are all aiming to reach. And every single day, we come in and out of this stage of consciousness. As me, we are on a universal awareness. We are source. I don't identify as Maria. You are not yourself out there, but you are consciousness, what some people call God. It could be that, whatever means to you. And that unique expression of yourself, I am that I am, and no separation. You feel oneness. And there is one thing that I want you to take on board today, if you don't receive any other insights. But as you merge your presence with consciousness, You achieve this by focusing as well your attention on an expansion of your awareness. And that means that if you put your hands really on the peripheral of your eyes and you place your attention straight in front of a point of attention, you keep expanding. But I can see my right hand moving, my left hand moving, and you keep breathing slowly and deeply. And then your attention and your awareness expand. So I would love for you to practice these. And so why I'm mentioning this is because I am aiming to teach you today the principles to merge your vision with rewriting your story. And also, I want you to reflect what does unshakable confidence means. And rather than define it here, I want to say that we all have met these kind of people that have an unshakable confidence. They demonstrate these. They also get things done. They say and they do as they say. They display determination, and they also when they perceive a source of lack around them, they become resourceful. They ask quality questions, and they are great to be around. So I guess that when you see someone with this unshakable confidence, I want you to reflect what is true for you. Because I will say something here, friends. When you notice something in somebody else, if right now you are seeing that Maria looks very confident and she is demonstrating this, I want you to know that this is also inside of you. You just have to keep developing it. And I am sure that this is why you are of service, and this is why I am of service. So I want to also share a little bit of my journey, because I know that many of you around the world don't know me very, very much or very well. And if I may, please, I'd like to share a little bit of my journey. So when I was 17 years old, I lived in Venezuela, and I had this uncanny sensation. Some people call it a deja vu moment. And I felt that my intuition was presenting me with an image of Paris. I felt that I was standing in a city on a bridge that I could see a large spire and a river crossing through this bridge. But when I came to Australia, 10 years later, after this uncanny sensation, I was standing on the Princess Bridge in the city of Melbourne, for those of us that had been into Melbourne. And when I turned around and I saw the spire of the art center, I understood within my heart that I was in the place where I will rewrite a new story. So over the years, my life went up and down, and I have life to its course. As in all of us, we have various experiences that take us and bring us to that humility and that awareness of what we are producing as a result. But my marriage broke up, and I would like to share this quote that Maya Angelou says, or well, she's no longer with us. You may not control all the events that happened to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. And why am I sharing these with you is because I want to say that what happened next? Well, I was still a young migrant to Australia. I had 2 children of my own that I brought with me. I came here to remarried. And imagine when the marriage breaks up, I thought like, well, what am I going to do? And so what happened next, it was totally unexpected, and it helped me to redefine my path, redefined my story, the stage of what I was going to, at that time, call to serve. And I found that I wanted to study the basics of pottery and put in practice my creative flair. So I started replicating the colorful ceramics of Venezuela, my country of origin. And all of a sudden, then, while I was producing the ceramics and selling them in markets and so on, my business, I used to call it Tierra y Fuego, is a word that represents ceramics, earth and fire. From the earth, you fire it, and then you have the ceramics. It was born. And this was an untried venture that thrived with every ceramic that I produced and I sold, finding its unique voice in what we call the Ranchito Lantern. And you can see here, friends, the Ranchito Lantern had a story of the symbol of South Americans in search for a better life. But also this Ranchito Lantern signified my own connection with my resilience and my search for significance. Because if you think about it, at the time, I had so many hopes for my life here in Australia, being a married woman. And when the marriage collapsed, then I was in new search for that significance. So the Ranchito Lantern, as you can see, these little houses on top of the other, represent the slums on Caracas, the Venezuela's capital city, and how all these people were in the search for that authenticity and prosperity. So the business generated a lot of prosperity for myself and my family, and it gave me a new sense of community as I led a group of women that I provided work for, and they were also new migrants like myself that for some reason they couldn't integrate at the time into the workforce because they didn't speak English. So that gave me a sense of leadership, but also it gave me focus into what was possible and delight in what I had created. So I want to say that in navigating that world of totally unexpected, right? As I mentioned in the beginning, I didn't really have a complete plan, but the universe, all of a sudden, that's what decided. But I put myself through this, accepting the challenge. In navigating the world of entrepreneurship, my success at the time was not just a personal victory, but in showcasing the ceramics of my Latin culture and the spirit of the Latin culture in giving work to audacious women and migrants as well, like me, and also dismantling the preconceived notion of what a migrant woman and a single mother could achieve. It was one of my proudest moments because I appear in television. I was sought to do ceramic projects in different magazines. I had radio stations wanting to interview me. I had different television programs, including the small business show on Sundays. They wanted to interview me at the time. And that was really one of my proudest moments when I think about it. So can I hear you saying yes, yes? Doesn't this give you the feeling that we are powerful, right? That we cannot underestimate that power within ourselves. Really, yes, 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 indeed. And that also, when we set our heart and our soul and take action, is then we get the rewards. But I wanted to say that as the years progress, I closed my business. And at the time, I felt that the most logical decision was to integrate into the workforce, and I went to find a job. So I went to join the stats. The stats says that in 45 years, people are expected to be employed. They change jobs every 3 years, right? So I guess that I was already in my 40s when I joined the service of being an employee, and also I had this niggling sensation inside of me that I had a wonderful business, but I needed to close it in order for me to maintain my health. And so on average, people change in those 45 years 3 to 7 careers, which you can share with us in the chat how many careers in your time life you have changed. But also this it is expected that for the new generations of workers coming, there will be more to 5 to 7 different careers. And I was reading recently that millennials, they seem to have 2 to 3 jobs, not only to compensate their salary, but what they call a side hustle, because now with the rise of AI, they can do many other things. So I want to share that, once again, as the name of my program is Reclaim Your Vision, Rewrite Your Story, I want to share with you that I was not immune to the loss of my own personal vision. And I share many times that I was always focusing with, the changes in life, migrating, and so on and so on. What I call focusing on a default setting of the rear view mirror. And what does the rear view mirror means? It means that, as you're driving, it's like when you're driving and you have the rear view mirror and you can see the traffic behind you. But if you drive your vehicles that way, you soon will have an accident. We cannot drive only by looking at the rear view mirror. So that's how many of us drive our lives all the time, focusing and projecting the past. And what happens here is that we soon keep attracting what we don't want. And also, it brings us the experiences that we don't really want. And so that's why by expanding our awareness, it will make a change. We'll make a clean cut with that old default. So I also want to share that, as I am telling you about the workforce and how many years people are expected, well, our parents had a very good career or job security. And in the 1950s or 70s, or whichever years, my parents were from the 1920s. So by the 1950s to 1970s, they had good jobs and security, and possibly only one job during their lifetime. But now this has changed, and career progression has moved to many careers. And also it tests you and how many career changes you can sustain. So really it prepares you for adaptability, and what I will call that you need to develop decisiveness, boldness, and be assertive. And why am I telling you this? Because when I joined the workforce, I entered as a contractor, and so I couldn't really find a permanent job. And that is that concept that we bring from the 1950s, 60s, 70s of that our parents told us, get a permanent job, right? But no, in Australia, I realized that it was not the case. And so I joined the workforce as a contractor, which meant that I had 6 months here, 9 months there, 1 year here, and then the contract finished and I have to move on. So over the time, it really helps you or prepares you more than help you, just to develop decisiveness, boldness, and assertiveness. And well, during all these experiences, I kept developing more and more limiting beliefs, and that I needed to address. And so really with every contract cancellation, I felt that I kept losing more and more the vision that I had of myself. And perhaps I haven't told you until now, what was that vision that I had of myself? Well, when I was a child, I wanted to be a teacher, a mentor, a coach of some sort. And in those years, in the 1960s, 70s, they didn't call it coaching as we know now. But I knew that I was called to do something. And I was reflecting the other day that as a little girl, family was outside in the lounge room, having friends and whatever, where I was, where I lived in Caracas. And I remember that my mother gave me a turntable where I could play records. And I didn't know how to speak English, but I used to play the song, a particular song. It was, I think, Diana Ross, "Ain't No Mountain High," and I kept playing it, and I didn't know how to write English words, right? But I wrote them as close as I thought I could, and then be able to sing the song in English as I thought. So just as a little girl, it was very funny. I was reflecting that. So as a little girl, I wanted to be a teacher, a mentor of some sort. But I wanted to share with you that then over the years, and then we have jumped a big leap here from the era of having my business 20 years ago to now. I want to say that the great resignation, the restrictions that were imposed by the pandemic, which was not long ago, nearly 4 years ago, we were all of us everywhere around the world affected and impacted by this pandemic. It created for many millions of people to assess the way they work and they live their life. And that what we know now, it is known as the Great Resignation. They contemplated this. And the Great Resignation was that people mass exodus from their jobs to either go and live in the country or do something else. For me, what happened after many contract cancellations that I experienced in my life, the uh, the last unexpected cancellation of my contract then accelerated my decision to break away. And this time, that decision was to travel and to take a sabbatical with no destination, and that gave me an opportunity to have a lot of reflection. So I want to hear from you if hell yes or hell no, you have ever contemplated to have a breakaway. You can put your comments in the chat if you wish. So, but I bet that somehow, if you wanted to take control of your life, you wanted to also contemplate that great resignation of moving to something else. Well, but so I want to say that the promise of today is about self-negative beliefs. And I want to share that our decisions are influenced by the amygdala, which is a part of the brain that focus on avoiding danger and seeking rewards. Then this amygdala part of the brain tends to react based on what we perceive as pleasures or pain, or what you can call it advantages or disadvantages. However, as I mentioned before, with the analogy of the rear view mirror, when we imagined that we have the prefrontal cortex, which this researcher Joe Dispenza calls it the CEO of the brain, and it helps us to calm down those impulses and have a little bit more a creative imagination process in our brain. And therefore, this allows us to act more spontaneously and purposefully, and rather than reacting emotionally to every situation. And when we act also with the alignment of our values, then we start also questioning the limiting beliefs that we have, or the self-negative talk that it has, because, until now, many of us don't know how these manifest. And the more that you believe these thoughts, the more that it can bring you down. So, however, when our actions are aligned with our values, when they are not aligned with our values, we tend to procrastinate, we tend to forget, we tend to self-doubt ourselves and second guess, right? So this happens because we might be following the beliefs, and tomorrow we'll discuss a little bit more of this when we talk about values. We have the beliefs imposed by others. It could be our caregivers. I know that I have the beliefs and values of my parents from the 1920s, and things that really held me back. And I believe that's similar for you. So beliefs are called so because they are not true. For limiting beliefs are called this way because they are not true for you. They're not true for us. They are limiting you, and they are not aligned with what you value the most. So they can make us feel uncertain and to subordinate. We subordinate to media, to the impulses of scrolling aimlessly to social media, to binging on programs, to the opinions of others without even querying, is this true or not? But when we then act and reflect our lives from what we value the most, then life becomes more effortlessly, and we give ourselves the permission to pursue something extraordinary. So I believe that you are giving yourself that permission right now to pursue something extraordinary with your life. And yes, you can give me a yes. Uh, thank you. So I believe that then we live more on purpose. We are our why becomes very easier because the how is just in flow. We flow with no efforts really. And so I wanted to share that with you. And these beliefs actually are meant to frustrate us enough to return us to what truly matters to us. Before I was showing you about humbleness and humility. And really, when experiences in life brings us from different things that we believe, frustrates us enough, the feedback mechanism that we are obtaining from the outside world, then you either continue, which is what I felt that I was doing by getting out of one contract, getting into a new contract. And that was the concept of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So I decided that really it was time to break away completely and therefore return to what truly mattered to me. So have a reflection on what this actually has meant for you before we go and explore what today has been all about, and is the principles to merge your vision with rewriting your story and reclaiming a stronger sense of self-awareness. So what does that frustration of any beliefs has meant for you? You can share it with me in the chat if you want. And that is that what has brought you to be in a curiosity state now to search for different things that will bring you the answers or the results that you want to obtain. So in reclaiming a stronger sense of our self-awareness, I am saying that we go and question these voices or this self-negative talk. And I mentioned in the beginning as well that high achievers crush this belief before they conquer or acquired any other successes. They work on obtaining a more empowering mindset by gaining more clarity and working continuously on the limiting belief. And I think we were talking earlier on before the program, the recording started, that yes, we can say, when I'm not good at making presentations, I'm not good as a public speaker, I'm not good at making videos, I'm not good at cooking, I'm not good at selling, I'm not good at dating, I'm not good at studying something new, I'm not good at establishing a business. The list goes on and on, doesn't it, friends? Yes, right? And so today I want to share with you this because as we crush every limiting belief, then we're getting a step forward to reclaiming that stronger sense of our self-awareness. And they manifest in ways that we have no idea. And if I went to ask you, how do they manifest for you, you can actually share it. So why don't we do that? Let me come and share. Let me come here for a second and share. Do you want to share with us all, how your self-negative talk or limiting beliefs manifest? Please unmute yourself and share.
Sorry, Maria, my internet keeps on going out, but I'm getting bits and pieces. So you're asking if our self-negative talk is manifesting in ourselves, or how are we getting
No,
ourselves out of the self-negative
no,
talk?
I am asking if you want to share for a few seconds, how do they manifest in you, these self-negative beliefs? Can you share? Would you
Oh,
like to share?
I can try. I know I was the youngest of four, and my two sisters always used to tease me. So I don't know if that was it or not. As I get older, it seemed like every time I'd make a choice, it was the wrong choice, and then I just had people put me down, and I put myself down, and I thought I was stupid. And later in life, a friend came back. We used to work together when we were teenagers, and in my late 40s, and our late 40s were the same age. For 2 years, he told me to stop talking about his Shirley that way. And it took me about 2 years to stop telling myself that. And now I am humble, but I am also amazing. And I'm not afraid of going out. But it took time. And I felt very, very fortunate that someone took the time, because I thought, oh, he's going to, be done with me soon,
Thank you,
listening to me
Karen.
gripe about how bad I am. And instead, he built me up. And so it was a good thing.
Thank you. Thanks so much for sharing. What about you, Ruth?
I think my limiting beliefs are probably because what I'm trying to do is I always enjoy being on stage or in front of a crowd. And what I find is that I think that, well, on a stage in front of a crowd, you're not actually like doing the intimate one-to-one conversations. And that's where I sort of think, oh, people won't really want to get to know about, won't see the magic in what I'm trying to tell them. And that's just come from being always being an employee or or coming from a big family as well, is sometimes your one-on-one voice doesn't get heard. So that I think is a limited belief there. Whereas on a stage, you're on the stage, but you're talking at people, you're not talking with people.
Oh wow, that is so so great, because there is one of the ladies in the Facebook group. She has a program that is about reclaim your voice or something like that, and she trains people. And I attended her podcast. She interviewed me, and the main question that she asked is, when was that time that you lost your voice? And most of us, if we come from a large family, right? Like I was the fifth of five, so plus mom and dad. So, I had to shout or cry to be heard, right? And so I think, so I guess that what I want to share with you in the next slide is about the work. So I chosen to share this work with you guys because it was a process called The Work, created by this woman, Byron Katie. And she came across by coincidence after a spiraling of... Shirley, can you unmute yourself, please? Thank you. And after a spiraling process of stage of her life with depression. And so I think what happened is that she said that when she believed her negative thoughts, and I didn't ask you, how do you call it? Do you call it limiting beliefs? Do you call it self-negative talk? Do you call it something else? Because sometimes this could be a jargon of the self-development world. So please feel free to share it in the chat. How do you call it? And so you're still unmuted, beautiful Shirley. So she realized that when she believed her thought, she suffered. But when she didn't believe, then she didn't suffer. And it seems simple, right? But that is what creating and developing a higher sense of our self-awareness becomes part of it. So this is where this powerful method of self-inquiry took shape, and that what we call the work. So I've chosen to share this with you. And there are 4 questions. And I'm sorry that I didn't share with you the PDF because I wasn't sure how many of you were attending today that has this. And I will be able to email it to you for you to practice this at home. Because, okay, if you ask yourself, I was never not listened to, and my family never listened to because... or whatever it is for you, right? I want you to think about something that you feel is true for you. And you ask yourself, is it true? And wait for the answer. And then if no, well, then move on. But if it keeps telling you that it's true, can you absolutely know that it's true? And wait for the answer. And ask yourself a third question, particularly for all of us here that share our experiences of our limiting beliefs. How do you react? Or what happens when you believe that thought? Well, when I believe, my thoughts, for example, I feel they limit me more. They reduce me to not the great person that I am or want to be, but they... when I believe that I am not a good presenter, when I believe that I cannot make a video that shows my authentic self, when I believe that I cannot go out and share the message of this program, then that really, this is a good question to ask. How do I react? How do you react? And obviously, it makes us feel, I think I can lift my game here. That's possibly what it got for me. And who would you be without that thought? And that's the 4th question that I want you to ask yourself. Who would you be without that thought? And we have a few more minutes, so perhaps we can unmute and share quickly, Ruth. Let me share. So if you ask yourself, who would you be without that thought? Would you like to share the first thought that you share with us?
I don't know the answer
No?
to that. No, I guess I'd be
If you were to know, what would it come?
Yeah, I guess that I would be just naturally okay to just have one-on-one conversations and know that people will listen. Well, you know,
Yes, yeah, because that is more within you than within the other person. Because then there are techniques that you can develop to calibrate if they're listening or not, and prompt them or whatever. So it's something that, it could limit you if you don't believe that. So who would you be without that thought? I'd imagine someone that is more at ease, right? Yeah, possible. What about you, Shirley? Can you give us a? I know that you love talking, my friend, but would you like to give us a quick summary of who would you be without that thought?
I would have been a much better person without my negative thoughts. A much, much better person. They gave me no confidence, so when I was questioned, I lashed out. And I would just be, I don't want to talk too much. So I would have been a better person. I would have been the person that I think I am now.
Thank
And I
you.
like me now. I didn't like me back then.
Yes, exactly. And a person that is able to accomplish all so many things that you are accomplishing now, and your certifications of helping mature people to exercise, and for all of us here. So, yes, so this is what I wanted to share, because successful people, and this is what they do first, they question their limiting beliefs. And you think about it, and I will share the PDF of this exercise. I want you to spend the rest of this week, perhaps, let me admit this person, by querying your limiting beliefs and asking yourself is this true? Because it's not only one belief, right? This is what I am trying to say here. There are many. So when you continuously question, is this true? Can I absolutely know this is true? And how do I react when I believe this thought? And who would I be without this thought? Then you will know that you are then not only questioning one, but many as well, many limiting beliefs. And you will have the answers. I will share that. Now, we have several minutes left, 8 minutes in fact, and I respect your valuable time. So what has changed? Has it changed for you the outlook of what you believe or what you think? Or do you really believe that in order to be successful and achieve wonderful things in life, you need to crush these thoughts? Do you firmly think or believe this, or should we inquire a little bit more? Is this absolutely true that when we question our thoughts, we can then achieve greater things with our lives? And when I believe that, how does that make me feel, or what happens when I believe that thought? Well, it makes me feel great, right? That I can achieve greater things, that I can learn how to overcome whatever else. And who would I be without that thought? Well, I want that thought to keep empowering me daily. I don't want it to go away. I want it to, but that's one empowering thought. We are working here with those thoughts that are limiting us. So if you want to share in the chat what has changed for you, we also have, yes, I'm just checking that. What has changed for you after all this I would call it a conversation, right? It's been a conversation with you over the chat, that you feel confident and patient. You like yourself, Shirley, and you are valuable to others. That's wonderful. And Shirley, you also said that we have to be mindful to listen to the words we tell ourselves. Definitely. And that's why this process of self-inquiry, it helps you to do that. And it's free. It's totally free. This, you have to work daily on this to crush this belief. And what is a new empowering belief that you want to? I have the new way of challenging my thoughts with the 4 questions. Ruth, thank you. Yes. Thank you, Shirley. That it's a great webinar. Thank you so much. Well, if I bump into you 3 years from now, I have now a magic question for you both, for you all. If I bump into you 3 years from now, what will you be telling myself, yourself, and the world around you? What would you be saying? What opportunities have you created? And what are those things? Are you still going to believe that you couldn't be the best presenter or the best exercise for elderly people? Would you believe that you're not heard enough? Would you believe that you cannot achieve your financial goals or your big, hairy, audacious goals? Would you believe that in 3 years from now? Or would you then be saying to myself, oopsie, sorry, in the 3 years from now, if you will still be living in the past, and like I gave you the analogy of the rear view mirror, would you be still looking and reflecting the past, or would you be engaging your prefrontal cortex as the CEO of your brain to make more of imagination and creation and taking action? Because to know and not to do is not to know. And so I guess that I will love for you to share your aha moments, and yes, that will be amazing. We have 3 more minutes, and for those coming tomorrow, I would love if you will make it. We are then going to work with our values, and I've spoken and told you a few things about when our values are not aligned, what happens. So we will be uncovering our values tomorrow, and I will be able to share more about the program. But if you can share with me in the chat your aha moments, that will be amazing. I also would like to share with you that it will help me greatly. I have organized a review. Oops, sorry, where is it? Sorry. If you enjoy this presentation and wouldn't mind to come here and share your experience with the others, so that it can help me as well to spread the word of consciousness and taking action. And also, you are all contributing to my mission. So I do want to thank you very much. So I'm going to share this link here. Is for if you wish to give me a little review in Google and say, well, I attended this, and whatever aha moments or insights. And Shirley, you just said that exercise changed me so much that I had to find my voice. That's great. That's when Toastmaster came into play. Thanks for sharing. And you, Ruth, said that the questions and watching how people with unshakable confidence was great. and that's within you, my friend. That's within you. What we see in others, we also need to reflect what's within us. And if you have any feedback for me and this presentation, by all means, I would love for you to then share that with me. And yes, I think we have arrived to the end. So don't miss out tomorrow. We are going to question our outdated values. So I look forward to having you tomorrow. Yes. And so I'm going to unmute you all, or you can unmute. I will stop the recording. And I want to thank you so much for participating.
I didn't realize the days are going to go in a row. I thought they were weekly, so I will try and be here tomorrow. If not,
no worries.
I'll reschedule.
Yes, on next time. Yes, thank you. Thanks so much. And yes, because these things take a little bit of